The basis of modeling in OpenRoads Designer Connect Edition starts with the existing terrain. So in the project folder that you would work in this case it's going to be the Quick Start for OpenRoads Designer Drawing Production. There's a design file that's terrain existing.dgn. And this is under the Bentley Training work set that comes with OpenRoads Designer. In the OpenRoads Designer Connect Edition, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your ribbon is set to OpenRoads Modeling. And when we also want to make sure that the feature definition toggle bar is open as well. I docked it. We'll go over that in just a minute. We open up the terrain existing.dgn. The first thing we see is an element that is a terrain model, and its name is existing terrain. We are in a 3D design file, 3D V8DGN, which allows us to use an element that has vertical, horizontal features. If we hover over the element terrain model, select it and right click, hold down the right click key and do properties. We can get information about this terrain element. If we go down toward the bottom, the first thing we're going to see is the feature definition. It has a feature definition of existing boundary. What that does is it gives the element its properties for things like the boundaries, the contours we're going to show, if it has spot elevations, all of these things that will be used in other views. We're seeing it in a plan view in a 3D design file, but this will also be, we'll cut cross sections from it or profiles. We can gather contour information, drainage areas from this element. All of these features that are applied to it, that are defined in the background, will tell the cross section what level, color, weight, line code, how to draw. The profile, the same thing. Those are all feature definition information. So one thing we can do is we apply this feature definition. There are some basic feature definitions for things to show. If we want to see contours and triangles, we can reset that. Now we see that there are contours and triangles. The triangles represent the spot elevations that were taken, and then the contours the contours connect typically the even elevations along those triangles. We can reset this to existing contours. So if we hover over that, we can see it has a contour elevation of 157 as a minor contour. There's another minor contour. We've got a major contour at 155. Sometimes if you hover over the element, you'll get a little pop-up window like this with different information. Same kind of thing, go to properties, and it'll show you, give you options to change the display of how things are looking. You can also take a little bit closer look at the existing terrain element by going to the terrain menu item, over to points, hold down and pick Analyze Point. This allows us to select the terrain and give information about any place I pick or want to move on the terrain. I'll reset my text size, my active text size. So as I come in and I pick the point, Analyze Point, select the terrain. Now I can see where my cursor moves, gives me the slope and also the elevation. I can turn on display contours, which does not seem to be working right now, or display triangles. So this allows you to pick a point anywhere on the terrain and get an elevation or a slope. So my elevation is 157.12. Another helpful tool on that same toolbox is the Analyze Between Points. So if I want to find what the slope generally of this area is here, I can select the terrain model, pick a point to begin and pick a point to end, and that tells me what the slope is in that area. These are all tools that will be available to use during the design process, which help with gathering information when you need it. The first thing you want to do when you start modeling is to tell OpenRoads Designer what the basis of our design is. In this case, it's going to be the existing terrain in this design file. By selecting it, doing a right click, I can say Set as Active Terrain Model. So anytime I'm doing any modeling now, anytime I cut a profile on a horizontal element or I look at cross sections, the basis is always going to be the base surface is always going to be the existing terrain model that I have selected here and set active. So it's always going to use that for modeling. You can reset it, you can change it to others, you can update it as you go, but you always want to have a active terrain model. There you can see in my little pop-up it says active terrain model, existing terrain. You always want to have an active terrain for the basis of your model.